Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Shah. On behalf of Calvas, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about structure equation modeling using SmartPLS 4.0. Today, we will discuss the powerful world of SEM, a comprehensive approach for analyzing complex relationships between variables. We will be focusing on SmartPLS 4.0, the latest in cutting edge software that simplifies these analyses. Whether you are a beginner or experienced researcher, our session will equip you with the knowledge and skills to leverage the SCM in your work. And let's embark on this analytical journey together. So, before we start, I would like to thank Calvas for arranging such enlightenment sessions for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Calvas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to learn from their experiences and recommendations, which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually as well as to contribute to the world at large. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have amazing person as guest. He's internationally known and recognized personality, having a wonderful experience in academia as well as in the industry. He has conducted numerous workshops, seminars regarding the smart PLS and other related the content which can help you a lot in growing yourself in order to understand and to spread the knowledge. So he is spreading the knowledge through different platforms, and he's not only contributing to the one platform but on various platforms simultaneously. So let me introduce him formally. He is associate professor and is the dean of the South Asia School of Business, University of South Asia, Dhaka, Bangladesh. He has submitted his PhD thesis to the School of Business and Economics, UPM, University, Putra, Malaysia. He has more than 20 years of experience in the field of academic and corporate. Moreover, he worked in a couple of universities. Few of them are the Daffodil International University, Dhaka, Malaysia, Southeast University, Dhaka, Malaysia, Bangladesh. He earned his MBA degree major in HRM and marketing from Bangalore University, India under Indian government scholarship, and BBA degree major in management from Southern Adventist University, USA. He has also completed PGD in Retail Management degree from ICFI FAI University, India. He received his Outstanding International Student Award from the Garden City Group of Institution, Bangalore, India. In addition to that, he is a founding joint General Secretary, Bangladesh Society for Private University Academics, and consultant HR Outsource and My Jobs, Dhaka. He is the ex-president of Graduate Student Club, School of the Business and Economics, University Putra, Malaysia. He is the Life Fellow and the ex-joint secretary of Bangladesh Society for Human Resource Management and one of the founder HR Club, Bangladesh. Along with that, he is the chief advisor of Business Genius Bangladesh and advisor of Tan Rat Institute, Bangladesh. He is the former conference and skill enhancement secretary of Bangladesh Students Union, Malaysia. Along with that, former vice chairman of the World Organization of Students and Youth, India, and former joint secretary general for Federation International Student Association, Bangalore, India. He was a debater in his student life, and presently he is the advisor of the chairman and ex-moderator of National Debate Federation, Bangladesh. Moreover, he was the syndicate member at the Sylhet International University. He is a life member of American Alumni Association, AAA, and member of Society for Human Resource Management, SHRM, USA. He attends career HR-related TV talk shows, the radio program as an expert and resource person, and conducted 70 plus webinars, workshops, seminars locally as well as internationally. He was a conference secretary of the 6th BSHRM, MetLife International HR Conference in 2017. In addition to that, he is the associate editor in the International Journal of Bangladesh Society for Human Resource Management and has published 26 research articles in reputed peer-reviewed journals, local as well as international, including the Scopus Index journals. His main area of research are the green HRM, strategic HRM, sustainability, which is more inclined towards the sustainable development goals. Last but not the least, he is a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming once again our guest, Associate Professor Muhammad Abdullah Al Mamun. Welcome to the Calvas platform once again, and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you, sir. So you talked a lot of about me, so that's my pleasure. Okay, so dear
Thank you.
audience, without wasting time, so I want to enter into our main topic as we have only 1 hour time. So before going to the formal slide, just I want to say structural equation modeling using SmartPLS 4. So in today's 1 hour, maybe 45 minutes or 50 minutes, I will be talking. Maybe next 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe 5 to 15 to 10 to 15 minutes, I will try to keep for the Q&A session. Though it is seminar, so still it will be mostly lecture based. So maybe it will not be possible to go for the practical workshop. I means practical calculation. So though it is you need for this workshop at least 2 days you need, or maybe just today, but it will be an ice breaking. That's I can tell you. And as already you know that this is, I think this is the 13th time. So before that 12th workshop already I have conducted. So Alhamdulillah, this is I'm talking about the Smart PLS 4. This is 13th time. And this month 28 March, maybe I'm going to conduct one day-long workshop that will be organized by Franklin International Business School, Nigeria. So that will be online. So I think if you feel that it will be helpful after today's 1 hour session, ice-breaking session, so you can follow me in my Facebook and LinkedIn also. So without any delay, I'm going to the slide presentation. Just allow me. Let me just sharing the slide. So slide, okay. Click now. I have to choose the computer. Upload file, okay, and upload from mobile. No, okay. Just let me allow me once again. Slide, then computer, upload file. I got it, and open. Yes.
Yes,
So I
thank you very
think
much, Prof. And
it's
we
coming.
usually see your posts on LinkedIn and Facebook. You are, mashallah, contributing well to the academia. And this is again the 13th session on Smart PLS, which is very much needed, particularly for the MS MPhil PhD students. So looking forward to it. So it's uploaded. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay, so you can see my computer screen. Am I right?
Yes, the slides and you are visible to our audience. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I think you can see the full screen slide.
Yes, Prof. The full screen
Okay,
slides.
okay,
Thank
so
you.
it is moving.
Can you change it, please?
It is
Because
moving.
we are on the first slide.
Still, you are in the first slide. Now, still first
Yes.
slide.
Yes, but I move it to the second. Can you just move it again?
Okay, I'm in the first slide. So now I have gone to the second slide. So now it is second slide about myself, Dean South Asia School of Business, University of South Asia.
Yes, yes, sir. But I have changed it. I think from your side, it's not changing. So if you ask me to change, I will help you to change the slide. You just tell
Okay,
me to next slide.
okay. So you have to okay, you have to help me. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I'm in the first slide. So I need your help. So this is the, I think this is our banner. In the second slide about myself, I think nothing to say about myself because you can see in the screen and Dr. Has spoken about me. I think what I deserve more than that or what is written in the slide also. So I am not wasting time about myself. And also you can see audience also participant also you can see in the slide about myself. Already you know about my education. Just I'm asking your prayer or blessings. So pray for me. Maybe very soon I will face the final PhD viva, as already I have submitted my thesis. So I think the other things already you know about myself. These are the logos. Okay, so Prof, can you follow me, or you are changing the slide? Now
Yeah.
I'm showing the logo of my education. So next
Yes.
slide, I'm also changing. Also, you have to change also. Now
Yes.
introduction, that is history of statistical analysis and SEM. So now first, what is structural equation modeling? This is simple definition, especially who are the beginner. As I said, or in the title, you can see I'm talking about two things. First, I'm giving an overview or introduction of structural equation modeling, that is SEM shortly. You know, SEM has broadly two part. One is the CV SEM, covariance based SEM. Another is the variance based SEM or PLS SEM. So out of these two part, today I will be talking about, after the introduction of structural equation modeling. Today I will be focusing only on variance based SEM or PLS SEM. So again, maybe on PLS SEM, that is SmartPLS, the software. I will be focusing mostly on that. There are so many softwares, the few softwares are there. Among them, maybe only one software, that is SmartPLS 4, that is the latest version I will be talking about. Okay, so now you understood the today's seminar objectives. Now, what is structural equation modeling? Structural equation modeling is a multivariate statistical analysis technique that is used to analyze structural relationships. This technique is a combination of factor analysis and multiple regression analysis, and it is used to analyze the structural relationship between measured variables and the latent constructs. Now the point is why I need to use the structural equation modeling, because we are using the SPSS. So if I say simply, what is structural equation modeling? It is extended version of SPSS. It is a graphical representation, because we know in SPSS we don't have scope for the graphical representation, but if we use SEM, structural equation modeling software, so it will give you a graphical representation apart from the mathematical calculation or statistical calculation. So it is a combination of factor analysis and multiple regression analysis. So in one click, you can do simultaneous work at a time, which is not possible or which is difficult to do in a SPSS. So now it is better to use the SAM software, especially for the social science, especially for the who are using the who are doing the primary research, basically the structured questionnaire you are using or quantitative research you are doing. For that, my suggestion is, if you use the SAM and if you see the index journal also, like Scopus or Web of Science or maybe ABDC or ABS, so you will see that most of the articles, because since last 5 years or more than 4 years, I'm doing full-time PhD. So what I saw, that I think the all ranked journal, mostly they are using the SEM, especially in our social science or especially in our business, especially for the primary data structured, who are using the model as well as the structured questionnaire. So that's why today we are talking about the structural equation modeling. Now see the history of statistical analysis and SEM. If we see, if we can divide into three stages of the development of statistical analysis and SEM. If you see the first, in 19th century, we used to focus on the correlation and regression. In 1950, we used to focus on the factor analysis and path modeling. And 1970, we have started to focus on structural equation modeling. So I think, I don't know how many from how many countries the participants you are enjoying our session. So if you see, the structural equation modeling, historically it is not a new concept. So you can say more than 50 years back or almost 53 years back, the concept has started. So now, as it is seminar and our time is very short, so I told that I think this 1 hour or this ice breaking also will help you, especially if you want to understand the SEM. These are some fundamentals of SEM you have to remember or you have to know. Like if we do the algebra or programming language, so there are some language or coding. So here also you have to know these are the alphabet, I must say, or these are the programming language of structural equation modeling. As already I said, structural equation modeling has basically the two part or two types. The first one is the covariance based SEM, that is CV SEM, and another one is the variance based SEM or PLS SEM. And also you have to understand what is exogenous variable. Exogenous variable means, what do you know? Independent variable. In structural equation modeling, we don't use the independent variable, we use the term exogenous variable. Endogenous variable means dependent variable, latent variables or latent construct, and observed variables means items or indicators. So later on I'll show the figure. Measurement model, in other word, it is called also outer model. Structural model, it is called the inner model. Basically, structural equation modeling means you have to do two types of calculation, that is the measurement model assessment, another main thing, and the main assessment, or the main part of the analysis is the structural model, which is also known as inner model. I will show in the next slide in detail. And also you have to understand formative measurement model and reflective measurement model. Basically, the measurement model is divided into two, that is the formative measurement model and reflective measurement model. And loadings basically we get from the reflective measurement model, and weight we get from the formative measurement model. Now this picture is giving a clear idea about the structural equation modeling. So I think Doctor is changing the slide and he is following me. So I think so. So
Yes,
if you
sir.
see the okay, thank you. So I think if you see the slide picture, so as I said, structural equation modeling is a graphical representation. See, if you want to use the SAM software, first of all, you need a model like this, research framework or research model. You need like this. This is a very simple model. Here we can see we have independent variable and dependent variable. So independent or dependent variable or exogenous or endogenous variable, it is enough to run a model. But in if you want to increase your novelty in your framework, so here you can add mediating variable as well as moderating variable. Okay, so as it is basic discussion, so I'm not going in details on that. So look at here, x is the independent variable or exogenous variable, y is the dependent variable or endogenous variable. Here if you see, I said that measurement model already we have seen the previous slide. It is called the outer model. See, this is one measurement model, and this is also outer. It is also one measurement model. But again, we know measurement model is two type. So the first one, it is formative measurement model. So how we will understand the formative measurement model? I am telling very simply. See the arrow of this x1, x2, x3, we know these are the items or indicators. So there are three indicators for the x construct. So it is forming. So that's why arrow from circle to box to circle, arrow from box to circle, or in other words, arrow from indicator or item to construct. And as I said, weight we will get from formative measurement model. So you can see the picture. Now come for the reflective measurement model. Of course, the drawing will be reverse. So reflecting. So here x1, y1, y2, y3 is the item or indicators or question, number of questions. Reflective means arrow is coming from circle to box in picture. But in theoretical, if you say, it is arrow from construct to item or indicator, construct to item or indicator. So I'm telling very simply. So these are the things you have to remember. And again, I told in reflective measurement model, we will get the value that is called loading. Sorry. And again, if you see in between, another thing we are getting, that is the path coefficient. So path coefficient we are getting when we are testing the result of the construct. Basically for the hypothesis result, we get the path coefficient value. Means this is called inner. Structural model means inner model. If you see the red color, so I think you can follow me. I'm showing my cursor. So I think the one picture we are getting a complete formal a language of SEM, or these are the basic things. Again, I came back to the previous slide. So if you can change, Doctor. So here, so I think we understood what is an exogenous variable, endogenous variable. And again, come to the picture. So in picture, we can see in details. And so I think you understood. Later on, you have to understand in details. So as it is only our 1 hour time, so that's why maybe we are not going to in details on that. Now change the slide. Fundamentals of SEM, these are the some software's name. These are the some software's name. So for the covariance based SEM, you see there are so many softwares, but famous one is MOS. For the CV SEM, the famous software is MOS. Again, if you come variance based SEM, there are few other softwares also is there, but SmartPLS is the famous one. And today I will be focusing on SmartPLS, the latest version, that is the 4, latest SmartPLS 4 version I will be talking about. So I think you have seen the software name. Next slide. Now, I think these were the discussions, especially for my side. This was very little introduction about the structural equation modeling. Now, I will be talking, already you understood there are two types of, basically there are two part of the SEM, that is the covariance based or CV SEM or PLSM. So as today's topic in the title you have seen, that is basically on the PLSM. So I'm in the basic PLSM modeling. Yes. So change the slide. As I said, SEM is, this is for AMOS or maybe the SmartPLS, the same thing. Basically, there are two things or two tests basically you have to do. You have to remember the first one is the assessment of measurement model, and the another one is the structural model, or that is the main analysis. As already we know, there are two types of assessment there are two types of measurement model. One is the reflective measurement model, another is the formative measurement model. So I'm in the slide assessment of measurement model. So now the first things, if you see in the slide measurement model, what is the objectives of the measurement model? To assess the relationship between indicators and latent variables. Please remember, what is the objectives of measurement model? To assess the relationship between indicators and latent variables. Now, as already I said, the measurement model is two types of measurement model, two types, reflective, formative. Now, assessment criteria, if you see this very clear picture in the diagram, so reflective measurement model, there are three criteria for the assessment. Next slide I will discuss in details. The first, there are three tests or three assessment. The first is internal consistency, second one is the conversion validity, third one is the discriminant validity. For formative measurement model, again you have three types of assessment criteria. The first criteria is conversion validity, collinearity, and the weight and significance. Now let me discuss especially the guidelines for this assessment, which is you should remember. Go to the next slide. Yes. The next slide, I'm talking about the guidelines for the assessment of reflective measurement model. See, the whole 2 days workshop, I'm talking about in 50 minutes or 1 hour. So by 1 hour or 50 minutes, what I am talking, if you can remember this, I think you are knowing more than 50%. Though the practical part, maybe we are not able to know that, but what I am showing in the slide, actually, this is the main thing of SmartPLS software, or the especially the SmartPLS software. Now you have to remember, actually, these are the things. If you can remember, then easily you can do the practical part also. Guidelines for the assessment of reflective measurement model, as already know from the previous slide, there are three assessment criteria. See, number 1 to 3, same thing. Now let us know in details. For internal consistency, basically we will be focused on CR, means composite reliability, and the guidelines is the CR value should be 0.7 and above, according to Higher and et al. 2019A. Okay. Next is the second assessment is the conversion validity. In conversion validity, there are two criteria. The first, you have to look for the outer loading, and second is the AVE, average variance extracted. Outer loading, the guideline is the outer loading value should be 0.708 and above. The guideline is higher at all 2020-22. However, outer loading is greater than 0.4 is acceptable if the construct's AV is greater than 0.5. So this thing also you should remember. Next thing is, the next criteria is AVE. AVE means average variance extracted. The guideline is the AVE value should be greater than 0.5. And the reference is Fornan and Lurker criterion 1981 and Bagozi and Y is 1988. Now the third assessment is discriminant validity. And criteria is, there are three criteria, but in your thesis you should report at least more than two. But in article, if you report any one assessment also, that is also enough, because in article that there are page limit is there. The first is STMT ratio. The STMT ratio is, the guideline is the STMT value should be smaller than 0.85. That is the reference is client 2011. Or in other words, there are another reference is there, that is it should be less than 0.90. That is the maximum. Of course it should be less than 1, but if it is less than, at least less than 0.9, it's acceptable. But preference is if it is less than 0.85, that's also better. So the 0.9, less than 0.9 reference is Gold et al 2001. Cross loading, if you check the cross loading, in that case you have to follow the guidelines, that is each indicator has the highest loading for its specific construct. And the last one, and the on, this is also very famous one, that is the Fornell-Larker criterion. In that case, the corresponding column and corresponding one particular value in that particular column, and the outer value in that particular column and in that particular row should be higher. I'm telling once again how you will assess, or what is the guidelines for the Fornell-Larker criterion. You will get a table. So in that table, you will check outer value in a particular row or in a particular column. That outer value should be higher in that particular row as well as in that particular column. So by doing this, if your research model or the all the questionnaire is reflective measurement model, in that case, just from the measurement model, we try to we try to test the reliability and validity of the data set. So if you pass this exam, or if you get a positive result for this all assessments, so you can claim, if you don't have the formative construct, if you have all the construct are reflective in your research model, you can claim, by they are doing this assessment, I have established, or the data sets reliability and validity has been established. So now you can go for the main assessment, that is the structural model assessment, if you don't have the formative measurement model. But let me share the guidelines for the assessment of formative measurement model also. As already we know, there are also three assessments. The first one is the conversion validity, collinearity issues, and outer weight and significance. And already we know the criteria. So the first informative measurement model, still we are in the reliability and validity of the data sets. The first, we want to assess the conversion validity. For that, you have to do the redundancy analysis. And if you want to do the redundancy analysis, in that case, you have to remember, you should have a global single item, especially for the higher order construct. So in formative construct, again, now you have to think about the higher order construct or second order constructs, though it is upper level or advanced level analysis, but by discussion it is coming. So in that case, if you have the higher order constructs for that particular construct, if you make it formative, in that case, for that you should have a global single item for that particular construct. Suppose maybe your human resource management is your particular construct, so you made it higher order construct. So in that case, maybe you have sub dimensions: human resource planning, recruitment, selection, orientation, training and development, performance management, compensation. Like that, maybe you have sub construct, and in that particular construct, maybe you have every construct, every sub dimension have maybe 4 to 5 questions. In that case, maybe you have maybe 25 questions. On that 26 number question will be the overall opinion. Like maybe you may ask, what is your overall opinion about the human resource management practice of your organization? So that is the basically the global single item. So it should have, before collecting the data. And redundancy analysis, the guideline is the path coefficient value with that particular, it should be 0.7 and above. The guidelines is higher at all 2020 22 and C et al 2018. Fortunately, Chi et al 2018, he is my one of the co-supervisors. So I'm lucky on that. I got the direct guidelines from my co-supervisor, Dr. Jeki or Dr. Chi Jan Hawa. So you can see his reference here. And the second test is collinearity issues, especially for the outer BIF. And in that case, the guideline is outer BIF value should be, all things will come in one click in the software. So the value should be less than 5 or maybe less than 3. So there are two sources are there. And finally, you have to do one more test, that is the outer weight and significance. So in that case, you have to click the bootstrapping option in the software and you will get the result. So in that case, first you will check the outer weights. Basically it will be done by the p value, means if the p value is less than 0.05, means your formative measurement models, that the third assessment you have passed. But if you see that in outer weight all the items p value is not green, means not less than 0.05, no problem. In that case you can check the finally the outer loading also. So if you see the outer loadings p value all are green, then also you pass this assessment also. So here it doesn't mean that you should have especially if you ask me if it is PhD thesis, my suggestions, you should, if you have formative measurement model, you should show all the assessment. But again, if you don't have the global single item, so maybe you cannot show that test, but I think the other two tests you can show. But if it is article, again it is better to show if you can show all types of tests. But again, maybe I have seen that most of the cases or few cases, maybe if we are not familiar with the global single item, so in that case we miss the first test. So now I think after this discussion already, maybe we have passed the formative measurement model or also the reflective measurement model. By these two types of assessment, we have established the my data sets reliability and validity. Now this data set is valid and reliable, so we can go for the further analysis or the main analysis. So go to the next slide. That is structural model assessment, or which is the main analysis basically. So in structural model assessment, as of today, I can tell you in my PhD thesis also I have shared up to these 5 steps. So here the first you have to do 5 tests or 5 assessment. Step number 1, or first assessment is the assessment of structural model collinearity issues. How you will do that guidelines I will share in details next slide. The second step is the assessment of path coefficient. Basically we will get the hypothesis result of that. I mean all the hypothesis result or mediating result and moderating result we will get from this assessment. And that step 3 is the assessment of the R square value, and the number 4 is the assess the effect size, that is F square, and especially number 5 is the assessment of Q square and also the PLS predict. Now if you see the SmartPLS 4, in SmartPLS 3 version we had the small Q square effect size, but that was also, it was not possible to calculate automatically. We had to do the calculation in manually. But in SmartPLS 4 there is no option for the Q square effect size. Now before maybe who use the SmartPLS 3, we use the blindfolding option. In SmartPLS 4 we don't have any option for the blindfolding. Now we have to do this calculation by clicking the PLS predict. So in step 5 we will do two things. We will calculate the Q square value and also the PLS predict. R square means explanatory power of the model, and Q square means predictive relevance of the model. And PLS predict will show how it is, means one individual exogenous variable, how it is affecting the dependent endogenous variable, especially for in predictive relevance category also. Now let me discuss in details of these 5 steps, especially the guidelines for this assessment. Go to the next slide, and the next slide is the guidelines for the assessment of structural model. Guidelines for the assessment of structural model. So as already you know, there are 5 steps. There are 5 steps. Basically, there are 5 steps or 5 assessment. Number 1 is the collinearity issues. And just a minute, doctor.
Yeah, sure, please.
Just a minute.
Yes, to the audience, that Dr. Mamun is explaining very well what are the nitty-gritty of the Smart PLS and how it is different from the previous version of Smart PLS 3 version. and what are the difference. I think that's very important. And Dr. Memon, I was just telling our audience that you are telling us in very in depth the difference even between the Smart PLS 3 and 4, and what are the latest advancement on that. And I'm really enjoying the way you are explaining. Very nice. Continue. Thank you very much. Please.
Okay, thank you, doctor. So now the screen is full screen or it is half screen?
To us, it only shows the guideline for the assessment of structure model. There is
Okay,
one
I think
another way
I
you can
think
share your screen. You can share your screen by if you just skip this PDF file and you just share your screen in a normal way. So then our audience may see whatever you just switch.
okay. Let me go to the previous option like that. Okay, I'm uploading
Yeah.
once again the file. I think that will be better. Let's
Uh,
try.
Yes, let's try. But I think that sharing screen will be more better because the way you will be changing any slide, anything, even you move your cursor, that will be visible to the audience. So if
Okay,
you,
in that case, just 1 minute. Allow me what you are saying.
yes,
I okay now already I have opened two options, so I think one I should delete also. Mm, okay, just a minute. I don't know.
please.
Okay, so now no, it is the previous. So can you see the slide now? I'm changing the slide. Can you see?
No, sir, can you move now? No, to us it is, yes, it's moving. It's moving. This one
It's
is
moving.
moving. Yes, it's
But
moving.
the problem is now.
Now
Can,
we can see.
uh, can you see the full guidelines for the assessment of structural model? Can you see the guidelines? No.
No, we cannot see. We only see the guidelines
Heading.
for the assessment of the
Yeah,
structure
yes.
model
So
on the one.
it is here also I cannot see. So I cannot go. But previously it was okay, right?
No, previously, again, we had only listened to you, but the guidelines for the assessment, for example, the reflective measurement model was there, but not the in details. So I think the sharing screen will be the good idea. If you go to the present option, there is another option of sharing screen.
Sharing screen. Okay, I'm going to the present. Share screen. In
Yes.
share screen. Yes. So
Then
now
you have two options, either to share through entire screen or through window, whatever you
window.
like.
I want to share entire screen. Okay, let me click entire screen.
Yeah,
Okay, why
sure.
you didn't tell me? So I think it was good. So now it is coming or still it didn't come?
Yes, let me just see. Yes, Prof. Now it is visible.
Now can you see
Yes,
the whole screen?
yes, Prof. We can see it. You just change the slide. Let's see. Yes, it's working wonderful. Very
Oh
nice.
my
Perfect.
God. So I think see these
Yeah.
you should help me. So see these are the
Yes.
things I explained, but you have seen only the heading. Other things
Yes.
you didn't
Yes.
see, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no
Very nice.
problem.
Thank
So
you.
now I think the audience can see this slide.
Yes.
Now it was okay, doctor. So next time you
Yeah.
help the research persons like that. So SteamYard now mostly we are focused on the Zoom or Google
This
Meet.
and
So
other platforms. Yes. Yes. But it happens.
okay,
These are limitations of technology. No worries at
okay,
all.
no
Please
problem.
continue.
So
Thank
can
you.
you see the good slide guidelines for the assessment of structural model?
Yes. Now we can see each and every explanation of it. Thank
Okay,
you.
so but I think the audience sorry for that. So previously you missed, but once again I'm showing what I discussed, so you can have a look. Okay,
Yes.
okay, just let me see. I think these have you seen this all this or only the heading?
Yeah.
A previous
Yeah. These were visible at that time. Yeah, we
up to
have
this
seen.
it was visible. From
Yes.
here it was visible, but from here it was visible full screen full
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah. This was
Okay,
visible.
but
Only
this
we
was
missed
not
these
visible.
two slides, the assessment of reflective and formative measurement model. But I think
Okay,
that
so
others can see them later on after pausing the video,
yes,
and they
yes.
will
So,
have
so
the
later
idea.
on also they can follow me just 10 seconds or
Yes.
maybe let me just 1 minute. I'm repeating as they have missed, so we
Sure.
have the time, no
Thank
problem.
you so much.
So just I'm
Thank,
repeating
thank
guidelines for
you.
the assessment of reflective measurement model. So as already we have seen the previous slide, internal consistency criteria, CR means composite reliability, and you can see my cursor, the composite reliability value should be greater than 0.7. Conversion validity, there are, you have to two criteria you have to meet. The first is outer loading, you have to test the outer loading, and the guideline is outer loading value should be 0.708 and above normally. And the AV value, AV means average various extracted, AV value should be greater than 0.5. And finally, after that, you have to do the discriminant validity. What is the objectives of discriminant validity? To examine the similarity between the latent variables or between the construct. The main objectives of the discriminant validity is to examine the similarity between the construct. Means one construct is not similar to other construct. It should be different. So that means the your respondent they can discriminate between the construct, between two construct, or between the other one construct to other constructs. They could do that or not. So by discriminant validity test, you can understand. Okay, so there are, as already I said, there are three criteria. So at least you have to pass at least one criteria, but if you pass more than one, it is better, especially for the PhD thesis. First, all things will come in a one click, especially in the software. STMT ratio, if you click on the STMT criteria, the value, all values should be at least it should be less than 0.9 or maybe 0.85. Cross loading, as I said, the criteria guidelines is each indicator has the highest loading for its specific construct. And Fornell Larker criterion, already I said that out in the table, the outer value on particular value in that particular column and as well as in that particular row, if it is higher, then you have passed the discriminant validity test, especially in Fornell and Larker criterion. Now, doctor, the full screen is available.
Yes,
Yes,
Prof.
doctor.
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead, please. Thank you.
Guidelines for the assessment of formative measurement model. Already I explained there are three assessments, especially conversion validity. For that, I was talking about the redundancy analysis, means global single item. I talked in details on that, but I was talking about Chi et al. 2018. He is my co-supervisor. And collinearity issues, outer BIF, the BIF value should be less than 5 or less than 3. And outer weight and significance, basically, you have to click on the bootstrapping, and from the bootstrapping clicking for this, first you will check the outer weight. The outer weight, again, the guidelines is you will get the all P values. If all are green, means less than 0.05. It's okay, but still, if you don't get in the first click outer weight, then click on the outer loading. Here also you will see, if you see all are green values, means all the values are P values are, if it is less than 0.05, you can claim you pass this assessment. So that was I was talking, but unfortunately these two slides you missed, especially the explanation, but that's why I showed once again. Then I talked about basically after up to this discussion or up to this test, our data sets reliability and validity has been established. Now we will go for the further analysis, means our main analysis, that is the structural model assessment. In that assessment, already I showed there are 5 steps basically. As of today, I can tell you, if you do the analysis up to PLS predict, more than enough, I can say. This is the complete picture of the guidelines for the assessment of structural model. There are 5 assessment. The first assessment you have to do, that is the collinearity issues. Guidelines is again BIF value should be less than 0.5 and or maybe less than 3. The same for the formative measurement BIF also, no problem. But here that was the outer BIF, but here BIF means variance inflation factor. It should be inner BIF. As we know, structural model is inner model. The second assessment is path coefficient. Path coefficient, you can use the P value or T value, both is enough. But my suggestions, again, maybe if you are confused or if you are not sure, two tail hypothesis or one tail hypothesis, in that case, better if you report only the P value, that is also enough. My suggestion is, if you report P value, means P value, you know, if it is significant, in that case the all P value should be less than 0.05. By path coefficient test, all hypothesis result you will get, like direct hypothesis, moderating hypothesis, as well as mediating hypothesis result. Basically, out of these five assessment, path coefficient is the main assessment, I can say. If you see the few article also, maybe the remaining three tests, maybe three assessment, maybe you will not see. You will see only the path coefficient, up to path coefficient, or only path coefficient. Means they have used the heading also the hypothesis testing. Means that because the main objectives for the structural model assessment, or our main ultimate objective is to test the hypothesis, what we have proposed, that is significant or not significant, or it is supported or rejected. But if you do the remaining three assessment also, so you are doing in depth, so you can claim that I have done rigor in methodological part. The third assessment, that is the assessment name, is the coefficient of determination. So it is measured by the R square value. So guidelines for the R square, as I already said, R square means explanatory power of the model, and the guideline is the R square value is, if it is 0.26, that is substantial. If the R square value is 0.13, that is moderate, or maybe if the R square value is 0.02, that is the weak weak explanatory power of the model, and the reference is Cohen 1988. Next is the effect size, that is measured by the F square value. Again, the guidelines is there, if the F square value is above 0.35 or 0.15 or 0.02 respectively, we can say that our model has the large, medium, or small effect. The reference, same reference, Cohen 1988. Let me explain the F square. Actually, what we measure in the F square value? F square, by the F square value, we try to explain that one particular in the endogenous variable, how much effect, or how much effect has on the endogenous variable. That means, or in other words, one particular independent variable has how much effect on the dependent variable. Just let me share. Suppose you have CSR one independent variable. In that case, your maybe dependent variable is the financial performance. Okay. So in that case, if you see the F square value is 0.35 or above, in that case, you can claim the CSR has large influence or large effect on financial performance, like that. And the last calculation, especially in structural model assessment, you have to do, that is the predictive relevance. As I said, that we will do the two tests. One is the first, we will get the Q square value, and the next one is the PLS predict. As already I was saying here, that small Q square effect size you will not get in the SmartPLS 4, or in the in the SEM book also. If you see the structural equation modeling book, the Higher and at all, the second edition, you may get the Q square effect size. But if you use the latest edition, that is the third edition, you will not get the Q square effect size. You will get only PLS predict. So here, uh, as I said earlier, that now in SmartPLS 3, you saw the blindfolding option, especially for this Q square value. Now in SmartPLS 4, no option for the blindfolding. You click on PLS predict. If you click on PLS predict, first you will get the Q square value, and Q square, as already I said, it is the predictive relevance of the model. And if the Q square value is greater than 0, in that case, you can claim a positive Q square prediction indicators. Sorry, if the Q square value is greater than 0, in that case, you can claim the model has predictive relevance. The model has predictive relevance if the Q square value is greater than 0. The reference is there, Stone 1974, Geysers 1974, Higher at all 2022. So now, again, as I said, the instead of small Q square, now we are using PLS predict. So for this, you have to, basically you have to, for the PLS predict explanation or reporting for the PLS predict, you have to use this article, Shimuli et al 2019. I know Shimuli, she or he is the first author. My co-supervisor, Dr. Chi, also he is also one of the author in this article. So here, just as I said, it is we are conducting a seminar. So just we are giving an ice breaking or the initial knowledge, not practical knowledge. We are giving how you will get the result, or again what f square, small f square, what is the explanation or result is giving. Now the PLS predict also will give the almost same result or same types of result, but that was for the explanatory power for the q r square. Now you will get for the predictive relevance, that is for the q square. The thing is same, means how one individual in exogenous variable, how much effect has on the endogenous variable, means one particular independent variable, how much has effect on the dependent variable. Like as I said, CSR has influence. CSR is the independent variable, and maybe the financial performance of an organization is the dependent variable. How will guide, what is the guidelines? Guidelines means compare the RMMC and ME values with the LM model. So in the practical, you will see, if you click on the PLS predict, you will get RMMC means root mean square absolute error, MA means absolute error values with the linear, LM means linear regression model. So if you go for the practical part, easily you understand, but at the same time you have to remember these guidelines. What is the guidelines? The high predictive power when the PLSM value is less than LM value for all items. One more things you should remember, or you can take the note. R square value we will get only for dependent variable. R square value we will get only for dependent variable. Same for Q square value also we will get only for dependent variable or the endogenous variable. Dependent variable or endogenous variable. So now I'm talking about the dependent variable or the endogenous variables item or indicator. So in that case, the your our guideline is all, means the value should be what? PLSM value should be less than LM value. This is the guidelines. And then again, so if we see that all dependent variables, suppose the dependent variable is the organizational performance, we have 5 items. If we can see that all five items in, you will get two types of value. One will be the PLSM value, another will be the LM value. In that case, if you see all PLSM value is less than LM value, in that case you can say your model has the high predictive power. The next guideline is for medium predictive power, means PLSM value is less than LM value for the majority of the items. Suppose out of 5 items, the 3 items value is PLSM value is less than LM value. So in that case, you can say my model has medium predictive power. The third guideline is low predictive power, means for the minority of the items has the PLSM value is less than LM value, means suppose maybe only one item, okay, out of 5 items. And the last one is the lack of predictive power, means when PLSM value is less than LM value for none of the items. Suppose you have 5 items, but all items PLS value is not smaller than PLSM value is not less than LM values. In that case, you have to report, or you have to say that this model doesn't have any predictive power, or the lack of predictive power. In that case, guideline is maybe you have problem in measurement model. Maybe you have problem in measurement model. Okay, maybe some items you have to delete, or you have to get the means your data sets reliability and validity first you have to establish. So basically this is basically the today's workshop. I think less than 1 hour I have presented in front of you. This is my email, dean dot school of business sob at the rate of southeastuni.ac.bd. You can reach me, or maybe mamun.phd.upm at the rate of gmail.com. Here is my WhatsApp number, +88 01712534120. So in future, if you have any clarification or any confusion, you can email me, or you can reach me directly. Based on my availability, I will try to respond to you. And I think with that note, with that short introduction, with that short discussion, I'm closing my speech. Before that, just 30 seconds, I'm summarizing my today's discussion. You have to understand what is SEM. That's initially I told. You have to understand some basic term or concepts for the SEM. Let me show the slide from the beginning. Just 1 minute, allow me, doctor. Just if you want to understand the SEM, first thing is these are the, I'm summarizing my speech. First, you have to remember these are the basic terms. Okay, what is exogenous variable, what is endogenous variable, like that. These are the basic terms you have to remember. This is the first thing. Then you have to understand this diagram. Okay, when you are getting weight or when you are getting loading, what is reflective measurement, formative measurement model. Okay, like that you have to understand. Then directly, there are two types of there are two options in PLS SEM, in structural equation modeling. You can go for the CVSEM or you can go for the variance based or PLSM. Now you can ask me why I am focusing on the PLSM, because there are few advantages over CVSM. PLSM has few advantages over CVSM. Just let me share. The first thing is, if your model is complex, if you have more number of construct, in that case, it is better to use SmartPLS or PLSM, especially the SmartPLS. You will get a good result. Now come for the second condition. In your model, if you have reflective measurement, reflective item as well as the formative item, it is better to use SmartPLS, because CVSM is better only, or CVSM gives good result only for reflective measurement model, not for formative measurement model. This is the second condition. Now the third condition, why you will use the PLSM or the SmartPLS. If you see your data is not normally distributed, after collecting the data and do the normality test, multivariate normality test. So in that case, if you see, there are so many options. The one options I can say, you can do the skewness and kurtosis test. That is the very basic one. But one more important, one familiar step test I'm telling, that is the superior weak test. Like that, some other test also is there. If you see that your data is not normally distributed, in that case, AMOS software is which is famous, means especially CBSM software or AMOS software will not give the good result. But again, smart PLS is very smart, it will give a result. In my PhD data, I have seen my data was not normally distributed. It's not a big fault, it's not a fault at all. So I was bound to use the smart PLS. So I think these three big conditions are the major conditions I have presented now, especially why you will use the smart PLS. Because smart PLS is your some cases, especially these are the conditions which is better in PLSM or smart PLS, but it is a challenge for the CVSM. Then you have to remember basic things. Measurement model, as I said, you have to remember the reflective measurement model guidelines and the assessment criteria. You have to remember the formative measurement model assessment and criteria and also the guidelines. And finally, the structural model assessment, there are 5 steps. As of today, I said, if you report enough for that, just you have to remember this slide. There are 5 assessment, and for that 5 assessment in structural model assessment, there are the guidelines. Because of course, the guidelines you have to remember. If you don't remember, you can see and you can write in the thesis, but when you'll go for the presentation, in that case, I think it is better to remember. So by this, I think finally, once again, my 1 hour talking also, the speech also I have summarized within 2 minutes. So with that note, finally, I am closing my speech and I am going for the stop sharing also. And over to Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Really, it was interesting to see the way you just started it. And I love the way you explain each and everything from very nitty gritty, the way you just describe I would say very nicely, the guidelines for everything, for particularly what are the fundamentals of smart PLS, which things to be followed. And this is the beauty of the expert and resource person, that they know that first they need to introduce the audience regarding the different terminologies which are being used in the software. So very nicely you have discussed first what are the exogenous endogenous variables, because these are the new terms which are being used in SCM, a smart PLS particularly. And then very nicely you have talked about the formative and reflective measurement model, because mostly there is a lot of confusion in the beginner researcher particularly regarding these. And then the discriminant validity and convergent validity, what are the different tools which can be used, or what are the different threshold to be used in order to see whether they have met the criteria of validity or not. So very nicely you have talked, and I love the way you just mentioned the references, and particularly your main supervisor and the co-supervisor work, and that speaks for itself, the way you have been groomed and the way you have been educated in a way regarding these all things. And I like the way you just mentioned the structure model. What are the different things which we need to consider, along with the comparison with the previous model, that what is the difference and how it is advanced from the previous version. I think that was a very mini package with of 1 hour. And I was watching the way you just trying to squeeze the 1 day workshop into 1 hour, and which was a very challenging job, but you did it a fantastic way. Thank you very much for such a wonderful session, and describing each and everything in a very simple and I would say in a very lovely way, so that everyone could have a better understanding of all those things. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And now some questions are waiting for you. Most of the question you have addressed, but certain questions which needs your clarification. So let me just ask, if you allow me, please.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you. Yeah, the first question is regarding the prerequisites. They want to ask that, dear sir, what are the prerequisites for using the SEM with SmartPLS 4.0? Sometimes people have different opinion and doubts that should we be studying certain books before starting, or what is your advice for those people who are going to start it for the first time? Yes, please.
Okay. Can you hear me or network issue?
We can hear you. Please carry on.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. The first questions. What are the prerequisites for using SEM with SmartPLS 4? To me, there is no prerequisite, specifically not required. But one thing you should remember, for statistical analysis, SPSS is the foundation. Okay, so SPSS is the foundation. If you have at least basic knowledge on SPSS, especially for the data cleaning and data screening, these things you have to do, and normality test. Okay, like that test, you have to use the SPSS. Okay, for using the Smart PLS, you need a complete ready data set. You need a complete ready data set. So if you have any outlier or other issues or missing values in data set, so all things you have to do by using the SPSS or Excel. Okay, so you need a complete data set. So in that case, if you ask me the prerequisite, you should have a basic knowledge on SPSS, especially how to calculate data screening or data editing, or how to calculate the normality test, blah blah blah. That's all. But not big prerequisite. It doesn't means that if you are not expert in SPSS, you cannot use the Smart PLS. No, I'm not expert on SPSS. I'm not expert on the Smart PLS also, but still I can say what I know in Smart PLS 4, but I think I know less than that in SPSS. But still I can continue. So I think you understood. Just you need the basic knowledge of SPSS for the data, preparing the data, and you need a complete data set for the Smart PLS. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such a wonderful answer. And I think that will pave the way for the people, that how can they have a good grip on the smart PLS once they know the basics of at least this SPSS, and then they can transform their knowledge towards the smart PLS. Thank you. And now another very interesting question that is related to the pitfalls with the smart PLS. Since you are the expert, you knows the both the pros and cons of the smart PLS, so they want to see the dark side of the smart PLS as well. That what are the common pitfalls in the SCM analysis, and how can we avoid them using smart PLS 4.0? So any advice related to the things which though they can avoid in order to have a good analysis on smart PLS? Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Basically, that every software has some merits and demerits or limitations. Okay, you cannot claim. I think so far my little knowledge, I don't know any software that which is well accepted or everybody has accepted that. There is a debate when in 2019 when I went to Malaysia. Some people say okay, some professors or faculty members, they who are expert in MOS. Maybe they are focusing their students to MOS, and my supervisory team member was expert in SmartPLS. So I was not insist, I was encouraged to use the SmartPLS. So for my knowledge, already I mentioned, apart from the CBSEM, PLSM has some advantage. Okay, but again, and you know who use the SmartPLS 4, it is very smart. So many complex. If you have big number of sample size, if you have a big model, as I said, that CBSEM only suitable for the medium size model, small to medium size model, whereas PLSM is SmartPLS is suitable for small to large model. Again, if the sample size is up to 30, you can run the PLS, a smart PLS model. But again, if you have a big size, then also it is good. And also, I think before already I told that again, if you have the reflective and formative both version, in that case, again, it is suitable or it is better to use the smart PLS will give the better result. So again, that is another condition. And I think for me it is very difficult that uh, of course there's still some smart PLS, maybe some limitations are there. So I'm not the software developer. Maybe my co-supervisor and Joseph Hire, Christian Regal, Marco, who are running this software, maybe they are thinking how overcome these pitfalls or the limitations. I
Yeah.
think that's all from my side.
Yeah,
But
thank
I
you very
can
much.
tell my experience, and also I think you can also add that if you see the articles, including uh, A-tier journal means AVDC, A star, or maybe Scopus Index Q1 or Web of Science. I think I have seen that it doesn't mean that Smart PLS is not accepted in any particular journal. That knowledge I don't have, or I think because methodology, of course, it is one of the important part for any important part for any article or thesis, but it is not the only part. It doesn't mean that if you use a good software and your article will be published in a good journal. No, other things also is there. So I think you can add also in this regard.
Very nicely you have said. Yes, every part has its own due consideration in the thesis as well as in article. And very nicely you have talked about that every software has its own pros and cons. For example, the MOS, it has its own beauty regarding the sample size, regarding the data normality assumptions. At the same time, we have the smart PLS, which has its own good points in terms of it can operate on the less sample size. They can be run with the not even that good normally distributed data, which is quite good because in certain things we are not that particular regarding the data, but still it can give you a good result and they can assess it. So every software has its own pros and cons. Nothing is perfect, but we need to understand which kind of research we are conducting, what is the nature of the research. I think that is more important, and how we are particular regarding the data set. As you mentioned earlier in a prerequisites, that we must have a data set for data analysis. So all these things matter, and according to the situation, we will be more clear to answer regarding that which software is better. But every software is in a different way. I used this MOS in my PhD thesis, and as you mentioned, I was recommended with the MOS because our seniors and our fellows, they were doing it, and we had the workshops, etc. At that time, it was a different consideration and things, but we had to look what kind of research we were conducting and which one is was more appropriate for us at that time. So everyone has its own story and everyone has its own explanation of everything. I think that's the beauty of the diversity as well, and it depends on the research nature. So thank you for giving such wonderful answer. I can see the time has already passed, but we will quickly ask two questions, which is very important. As you just described about the normality of the data, etc. So one of our audience has asked a very nice question regarding the missing value in the data, and they want to ask that how does smart PLS for handling missing data, what are the best practices for dealing with the missing values in SCM analysis? I think people listen to you very carefully and
Okay.
they want to take advantage of your expertise on that. Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. As already I said, for Smart PLS, you need a complete data set. So all missing data, missing values, these all the things you have to handle in SPSS or in Excel. Okay. So you need a complete data set, then only you can run the Smart PLS. So for my knowledge, there is no option for handling in smart by using the Smart PLS software, especially the missing values or missing data. So all things you have to do in SPSS or Excel. For running the Smart PLS software, you need a complete data set. That's all.
Yeah, very nice. Very short and brief
No,
answer
so
you
for
have
my
given.
knowledge, no option for missing value in Smart PLS.
Nice, very
No
nice.
option for handling the missing value.
Okay, thank you. Great answer to this
Please.
question, and I think it is the directions to the people that please go through the SPSS because it is very important. And you have already recommended that you must have a basic understanding of SPSS, which is very important for the particularly going towards the smart PLS. One last question, and as you have given already a very nice understanding regarding what kind of things we have to see and what are the different references. Even you mentioned your supervisor. So they are looking forward for your further recommendation that the question is what resources are available for learning more about SEM and Smart PLS 4.0. Since you are the
Oh,
experts, you have a wonderful
oh,
understanding of different resources. So please recommend them. Thank
oh.
you.
There are so many books, especially on SEM, especially for Smart PLS also. But for my understanding, maybe one book is written by the Malaysian authors. You know them also, like T. Ramaya, my supervisor, Dr. Chi Hiramting, and others also. But still, my suggestion is focus on that main book, means original book, that is the third edition. As of today, that is the third edition uh, by Joseph Heyer, Christian Ringel, and Marco. I think one or two more authors is there. So Joseph Heyer, Christian Ringel, and Marcos, the latest edition, that is the third edition. If you follow that book, I think more than enough.
Wow, very nice. And yes, of course, we have a wonderful session with the Prof. Ramaya. He's a wonderful person and a very nice gentleman. At the same time, you have given a latest reference as well from where they can learn a lot. And that's, I think, these are the suggestions and recommendations our audience from around the globe look for because these are very important for them from where to start and which book to follow or which authors to follow. So very nicely you have helped them and very nice content you have shared with them for their understanding. So I think overall I can sum up that you just squeezed 1 day a workshop 9 to 5 into 1 hour, and you just gave a theoretical understanding and foundation to our audience that what are the different things you need to understand, and the next part is the just practical application of it. And if you know the
Yes.
concepts, you will be able to run the data very nicely. So I think you have laid the foundation of our audience towards what are the concepts and how can they just run it in the software. That's all. I wish I could have the same kind of workshop or seminar at the start of my PhD career. It would have helped me a lot. But since we did not get that opportunity, but we are providing the people that opportunity with your help and with your knowledge and wisdom that you are sharing with our audience from around the globe, and you are helping actually the researchers and the people who are conducting research that to know it very well on time in a short period of time and do it more better so that they can contribute to the field and work. Thank you very much for your contribution, sir. And may Allah bless you for doing more sessions and more workshops to educate people more on this regard. That would be great. Thank you once again. And now, Dr. Momin, you know that at the end of the session, we ask our each guest regarding their message to the world. So, what would be your message to the world this time as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, learner, and educator? Yes, please.
First of all, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers, especially Dr. Haidar Shah, especially for your platform that is Kalwas. You are doing excellent job, especially for the people. As you said that maybe your time you didn't get like this opportunity. In my time also in 2019 also, maybe after COVID, now we are getting mostly online platform. But before COVID, it was rare case. So my heartfelt gratitude and message, especially wishes to you. Please continue with, keep it up. And
Thank
for
you.
the young researchers, especially who are in the academic field, my humble suggestions: do the PhD as early as possible. You will get a good career, especially in the university teaching. Though maybe I am late in that case. Okay, that is one thing. And the last thing is research. It doesn't mean that if you complete your PhD means you have learned everything. PhD is just a maybe 3 to 5 hours journey, or it is a just 5 hour period of training, especially how to do research independently. Uh, but if you want to do the research, my understanding is you need devotion. You have to study more, study more, study more, then only you can write better way. And of course, last thing is, my suggestion is at least one software. If you want to be a good researcher, you have to learn at least one software in your area. Like my area is, I am doing research in quantitative, especially in primary data. I learned, though I know little bit about the amos also, but at least one software I know in a better way, that is the SmartPLS. Like that, maybe if you are in the secondary data, like that you can learn Strata or any other software. Or who are in the engineering field, maybe you need at least, I'm saying, at least one software. That is my simple message to the academicians, especially to the researcher. That's all. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you so much. Once again, you have given very nice suggestions, and I would say these were very great advices to our audience because you spoke of your practical experiences, and I loved your recommendation of doing PhD on time, and by claiming yourself that the PhD is not everything. Yes, it's not the everything, but it's just the beginning of the process of this inquiry of research and all those things. And once people like you who have gone through those journeys, and when you people say, the people just take it very seriously and they take the guidance that yes, PhD is not the complete understanding of everything, it is just the beginning of everything. You just start learning the things, and doing at early of your career will help you a lot to grow further because it's a deeper understanding of different phenomena and things. And I think that's the good part. And I loved your another approach of sharing your wisdom and knowledge with the people. So I think people learn from you is the that they should have the same spirit of sharing knowledge with the rest of the people to help them, to guide them. I think that's the real contribution back to the society and to the field, which you are doing in a fantastic way. So thank you very much for your contribution, and thank you for sharing such a wisdom and knowledge with our audience from around the globe. Please keep it up, and we look upon people like you who are contributing with full heart and soul. And people like you are really making the difference. And we look forward that you continue and you will be doing the same thing. And thank you very much for your encouragement and appreciation as well. You have been very kind to me and to the Calvas team all the time, and we have a great regard for you as a person, as a professional as well. So thank you once again. So now,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you. And now to the audience, that please do follow distinguished guest speaker through his research work, and you can email him for future learning and guidance. He has already shown his contact, and you can contact with us if you want to have his email address, our contact number. We will definitely share his email and the number for you so that you can have a conversation with him. And if you would like to have an interaction with him, or any query you want to ask, he is a very humble person and he would always be there to help you. You can find him on his LinkedIn and Facebook as well. He's very much there, and he is actively sharing his different workshops and seminars so that you can participate and you can learn from his wisdom and knowledge as well. So that's all we have time for today. And thank you once again, Associate Professor Muhammad Abdullah Al Mamun, for your wonderful session. And thank you all who joined us from around the globe. Thank you all for your support and liking our session. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. At the next session, take